Now, this is obviously about things that I wish I knew as an undergrad. And when I was an undergrad, we're talking over 10 years ago now. In fact, we're talking a lot longer than that, actually, about 15 years ago now. Wow. Um, I got feedback. It wasn't as comprehensive as it is now. In many places, it wasn't individualized, and I was in a privileged position. I was doing quite well at university, so I perhaps didn't have to delve into as deep with certain elements of feedback as other students may have done. But I wish that I'd have known how to actually implement that feedback to the best of my ability. We know from kind of student accounts and academic accounts that perhaps not all students fully engage with the feedback as well as they could do. You know, the potential is always there to kind of do better, but the feedback is there for a reason. It's not just lip service, you know, that we're ticking a box, but we're generally developing this feedback to help students grow and to do better with assignments at all stages of study. So for me personally, and this is one of the main reasons to talk about this, I think that if, as a student, when you first get that piece of feedback, you really want to take a few seconds to digest it, to understand what that feedback means, both in terms of wider general feedback, but also individualized comments which are being presented throughout that essay or that assignment or that research project. Okay, do you fully understand each and every point that's being presented to you? If you don't, that's perfectly fine. You know, there's always kind of cognitive dissonance sometimes between lecturers and their students. If you don't fully understand something, put a little bit of a mark next to it, write it down, you know, put it into your Notion template book to come back to later. And when you have read through the feedback comprehensively, you've reread your assignment, you've looked at the feedback, and that's when you need to start coming to the conclusion is, okay, so do I know how, if I was given this same assignment again, do I know how I could have improved it? And then when you've answered that question, then you need to be looking to the future. Okay, so actually, if I'm given a similar assignment to this on a similar topic, do I know how to take this feedback and apply it to that assignment? Now, it'd be very naive of us to say that every academic produces the best possible feedback they can do. And it'd be very naive of us to say that every institution has firm standardized feedback, but this is something that we're very much pushing for. It's important to have standardized feedback across assignments, across lecturers, to make sure that students can fully get to grips with that feedback as and when it comes to them. But the take-home message from me is to make sure you understand that feedback, make sure you understand how to apply that feedback, and if that you don't, then please do reach out to your lecturers or markers for further guidance. That's perfectly fine to do. If something doesn't really click with you, your marker will want you to ask questions so that you can improve in the future.
Yeah, I'd agree with all of those things. I think I had a slightly different experience to you, Dean, at university. I didn't start particularly well at university, so for our UK kind of listeners, I started off with 2 2s at university. For our American viewers, that's probably a C, something like that, C minus maybe. So I wasn't failing, but I wasn't doing what I possibly could have done. And the one thing that I really tried to do was to engage with the feedback that I was getting. So there were different things. So I didn't have effective workflows, for example. I didn't have a way of working. I was just kind of getting an assessment brief, getting an assessment outline, and sitting with a blank piece of paper and thinking, okay, what was in that lecture? What was in that session? I'll write that and I'll try and put some of my own thoughts down, and hopefully that'll be enough. And it wasn't. So yeah, really engaging with some of the feedback that I was getting was really important at that point. Reaching out to lecturers, like you've said, Dean, thinking about what they say I need to do to kind of improve that grade. And over time, that is something that happened. It's not the sort of thing that will happen straight away. I think it's really important to acknowledge that it's very unlikely that you're going to go from, if you're in the UK, a third to a first within the space of one essay. It might be that you go up from a third to a high 2-2, from a high 2-2 to a mid to a high 2-1, and then onto a first, maybe within the space of 6 or 12 months. That's quite conceivable that you could do that if you're developing effective workflows and you're engaging properly with feedback.